Public Q&A presents AskReddit question. If you were filthy rich, what would you still refuse to buy? Volcano insurance. Almost as good as cloud insurance. Anyone who got pandemic insurance is looking pretty smart right now. I am pretty sure Wimbledon, as in the tennis tournament, was paying pandemic insurance and made a fat claim. And the Olympics. My company is paying out a lot of money for a cancellation insurance claim. I know people who had pandemic insurance which has refused to pay out because it requires the government to close businesses using the Public Health Act, but the government passed the Coronavirus Act to close the country down. Anything that supports MLM scam. MLM is how I would be filthy rich in the first place, or S. Protection plan on video games or electronics edit. Wow, came back after a full day and a huge amount of upvotes and an award, thank you. Also, I know previously with Walmart issued protection plans, they actually through a different company, so even if your electronic does break you can't take it back to the store. You have to call, mail in it, and then wait for them to receive it just to get your money back. The best way to buy an Xbox controller is on sale at Walmart, then get the protection plan for $6. When you inevitably get some wicked stick drift in 9 months, just go swap out your old controller for a new one for another $6. I do the exact thing. Controller or headset has a 1-year warranty. Once that is nearly up, I'll go replace it if it's broken or not. I buy the cheap protection plans on some things. My phone's 3-year warranty was like $8. Why not at that point? The cheap ones often have small print where it says it doesn't actually protect you from any of the likely ways your device will fail. Or you'll have to jump through impossible hoops for them to actually change or fix your device. I have been paying $9 a month insurance for my phone for over 5 years, covers everything. Cashed in on it twice, first water damage, then cracked screen. Both were comically improbable accidents. If I recall correctly, there was a flat $100 fee for accidents and theft. Actual defects were free. Absolutely no hassle. They ship you a new phone, it arrives a day or 2 later, and you send yours back in the same box. Does $9 CAD per month qualify as cheap though? Doesn't sound like much, but that's $108 a year. Depending on the phone it might be worth it, but you'd probably be better off buying a phone case. So that's $540 plus $200 for the 2 replacement phones, so $740. Depending on what kind of phone they had, they might have saved money, or they might have paid more for their coverage. To be fair, if you can afford to replace things, you don't need insurance. Paying the £2 fee to take my money out of the cash machine. My bank reimburses mine. And they pay me more interest than my last bank. Should have swapped sooner. I made an extra $1,000 last year, I wouldn't have with my other bank. Which bank are you with? In Australia. Been with them for 3 years now, it's lit. Those overseas ATM fee reimbursements are great. No more getting out $5,000 in one lump when you can just get out what you need as needed. Expensive cat toys. My cat will continue to play with my phone charger. My ferret loves those Amazon bags. Every time I buy something small from Amazon, I tell her that I bought her a new toy. I open it, take out what I bought, and she gets so excited to play with the bag. Mine love paper towel tubes. They don't fit in them, never have, but they still try. I probably wouldn't buy heroin, a human being, or copyrighted movies. LOL, you probably wouldn't buy a human being. What if you buy one and set it free? On the one hand, you're saving a life. On the other, you're directly supporting human trafficking. I would put a tracker on in one of the stacks and call the FBI. Well, you've willingly taken part in an incredibly unethical and illegal transaction, so they'll probably get you too. Well, if you were filthy rich, I am sure you could maybe convince them and work something out somehow. And if you can't, just by the agent investigating you and have them sent somewhere else. Yes, totally, LOL. That de-escalated quickly. The Sims 4 Journey to Batshio. This is the correct answer. I still can't believe they did it. Had to come here from the Sims sub to upvote because yes. Tiny burritos. There's no excuse for making a tiny burrito. But what if you couldn't decide which burrito you wanted? You could buy a flight of tiny artisanal burritos. Dude, NGL, that sounds pretty rad. Yeah, it does. Some places do enchilada lovers, which is 5 different enchiladas. I like the burrito flight idea, especially at a modern fusion type place. Well, my mouth is watering. Do rich people eat tiny burritos? Only to make their hands look big. We do. It's a delicacy on the continent we don't tell you peasants about. A big house. Though I would probably build a really luxurious small one. I never thought about a luxurious small house. That sounds really cool. Now I want one. I have visited a bunch of old mansions and palaces, and one thing I noticed about the old mansions is that a lot of the living space is for servants. So when you hear about someone having a 100-room mansion, there's a good chance that the owners of the house only lived in 10 rooms and never saw the other 90 rooms. You don't need armies of servants like this anymore, so this kind of house is a bit redundant. Most high-end houses today aren't nearly as big as the old mansions. They are just much better built and in nicer locations. When I was in university, I had a student fellow, and she was worried because her new puppy got lost in the woods or garden inside their property. The house was the only house in the block. I have a fairly big house right now because I am living overseas with my family and on the government's funding. It's not as homey or cozy as our old, smaller house. Plus there's a lot more to keep clean. It doesn't feel like a home, just a vacation house that's too big. This I inherited a house that I lovingly call a ramblin' ranch. It's all 1 floor, and has 3 boulevard and 5 baths. It's spacious enough, but definitely small compared to most other family homes in my burg. Think 90s and 2000s McMansions, and definitely is still rockin' its original 80s vibe. We seriously considered moving into a bigger house for about a year. Worked with an agent, saw tons of houses, and after a year, we saw that though these houses were all bigger than our current house, not one of them was better than our current house. Our house has a lot of unique features which are difficult to replicate in another home, and we've decided to stay and renovate instead, and I think we'll be happier and much less light in the pocket for it. Do you have examples of the unique features? It's mostly the location. It's in the older part of town, which is much more convenient to amenities, highways, schools, etc. My property abuts the school campus, and then an adl 60+ acres of open space beyond that. I can walk to pretty nice hiking trails from my home, which is unusual in this area. My dog loves it. I am surrounded by town lands on 2 sides, most of which is protected wetlands, and cannot be developed by the town due to environmental regulations. I'm across the street from a private access lake, and am part of the Lake Association. Beautiful lake, yearly cost is $200. Membership is limited to property owners within a specific geographic area, so it's never overrun or crowded. It's great for swimming, non-motorized boating and fishing. I have city water and natural gas. Only about 25% of my town has access to city water, the rest is on private wells. I have a really unique pool that the prior owner installed. I never would have put it in myself, which is awesome, and my kids love it. That is everything I want and more. I've lived in super-planned high-end suburban homes and older neighborhoods. I like the older homes with uniqueness as long as I have the money to fix the windows, AC, heater, water heater, and redo the kitchen. It's those things that make me nervous about older homes. The latest trend is iceberg houses. There's a reasonably sized nice house above ground, and a huge basement under it. I would love to have a deep basement if only for a kick-ass media or entertainment room, where I don't even have to consider sun glare. I have thought about this. I don't need a massive 20-room mansion, but I would be perfectly happy with the exact same house I am in, just scaled up 50%. Higher ceilings, spacious bedrooms, big OL bathrooms. This is my goal in life. A super comfortable and cozy, yet high-end normal-size house. I had a relative with a big house, and would constantly obsess over keeping every inch immaculately clean, which just left her with no free time, and a lot of wasted energy over things like water spots. So, no thanks. If I get money, I am getting a tiny old cabin in the woods with decades of scuffing, and where so if I get a dog you really can't tell if a dog lives there or not. A shower. Then I would just be rich, and that's no fun. Made me laugh, thank you. A house with a ridiculous HOA monthly fee. Edit. To those trying to correct me, I don't care about the existence of an HOA, I care about how much it costs. But damn, after reading what a lot of you have been through, maybe I should care. My husband and I have built our house in a community that has an HOA, but it's only $40 a month, and they leave us alone. What prompted my comment is that the community next to us charges $350 a month and comes with pools, a rec center, parks, and even a small lake, but that still wouldn't make me want to pay that much on top of my mortgage. And thanks for the awards. My very first. My wife GF at the time bought a chair on CL from a tenant at a condo in Chicago a few years ago. Everything about the transaction was great until we started loading up the truck. The surliest busybody I have ever met came out to harangue us about how any furniture moving or transactions, it seemed, had to be done through her approval as the HOA queen. She kept trying to get us to reveal the culprit of this heinous crime against humanity, who had sold it. Laughing, we didn't. We told her she was an awful person and left, but it absolutely solidified our forever vow to never fall into an HOA trap. Edits. Typos. Lady, we told everyone we bought it from you. The guy who used to live across the street from my family, he passed away a few months ago, was ridiculously wealthy, and our neighborhood has a pretty bullshitty HOA. So he built a house in a completely different style from all the others and painted it stark white as a big middle finger to the HOA, knowing that he had the money to absolutely crush them in a lawsuit if they tried to do anything about it. When I was 16, my family moved into an HOA neighborhood. There was a common area with a nice walking trail in the back. I have always been pretty mild-mannered and have an inoffensive demeanor, even as a teen. One day I was walking along the trail after school. I see an elderly woman, and I smile and wave at her. She immediately sneers and demands, "Do you live here?" And I was like, yeah. And she replied, "Because this trail is only for people who live there," and I was like, "Okay. I do," and just kept walking. She was the head of the HOA and a terror. Only power she probably ever had in her life. Anyway, she had been skimming money and overpaying her friends for snow removal, and was unseated by some more level-headed yuppies. So yeah, no HOAS for me. Even the yuppies had dumb rules about paint color. The problem with HOAS is that the kind of person who wants to run them is exactly the kind of person that should be prohibited from running them, and the people that would be suited to running the HOA are in no way interested in doing it. The same thing goes for politics beyond a local level. I am selling my condo this week, and I'll be free of HOAS, hopefully forever. They threatened to take me to court over the color of a light bulb I installed inside my condo. They claim that it altered the exterior appearance of the building. Ugh, the house I grew up in had an HOA. My dad had a stroke, so we missed mowing the lawn one weekend because stroke. They fined us. My parents were so pissed. They also tried to fine my neighbor for their second deck level being not up to code. They didn't have a second level to their deck. I'd say if those people's lawns weren't dead a few days later, someone didn't teach them a lesson. Use some kerosene to spell out a lovely message to them in their grass. No, don't light it. We just voted to remove the entire board, which requires a supermajority of signatures, 60% of the neighborhood. You can imagine how bad it was to get that to happen. HOAS are the literal worst. As a non-American, HOAS just seem like such a weird concept. Why should some group of busybodies who have way too much free time on their hands have the right to tell me what I can and can't do with my house? The OG reasoning for it was to keep certain communities nice, as to not deplete the neighborhood value. Like the basic concept of it is you can't move into a neighborhood and suddenly trash your new house or let it fall to ruin. Or if you are a condo community that has HOA, the general agreement is that you as the homeowner are responsible for the interior of the condo, and the HOA does exterior care, common spaces, lawn, roof or exterior painting so that the community keeps a unified look. What it has morphed into is a bunch of middle-aged bored boomers deciding that they know best and can tell people how to live their lives. I did live in a HOA community as a kid, and the shit I saw my parents deal with. Yeah, I'll never live in one myself as an adult. It reminds me of people in Orange County. They rail against taxes and distrust the city, or county, or state yet, but live in places with huge HOA fees with significantly less oversight and transparency. The OG reasoning for it was to keep certain communities nice, as to not deplete the neighborhood value. Like the basic concept of it is you can't move into a neighborhood and suddenly trash your new house or let it fall to ruin. That's what the HOAS would like you to think. Historically, it was more about keeping values up by not letting the wrong sort of people move into the neighborhood. No HOA for me under any circumstances. This was the bane of my recent house search. Find a really awesome place within your price range, wonder to yourself whether it's too good to be true, then scroll down further and realize that there's a $750 or month HOA charge. Yeah, no thanks, LOL. Bought someplace without HOA. Tinder Gold. Do people actually buy this? Yes. I think myself included, every single guy I know at my school that had Tinder paid for at least 1 month of gold. You get to see who liked you and get to swipe more, both of which are super addicting to guys. You get to see who liked you. I don't need Tinder Gold to tell me I had 0 likes on me. I mean, really, if you were that rich you could attend events where you're going to meet for better suited to your lifestyle people than what you'd get on Tinder anyway. Reddit Gold. I was given it once. Didn't even notice a difference. Edit. Guys, this isn't some begging for gold shit. Stop giving it to me, for real. Save it for people who actually want it. Did you notice a difference this time? Damn dude, get a refund. No. Stick it to the man. Does anybody? I mean, I don't really notice the ads anyways. Damn, don't jinx it. I always find it funny how Reddit is anti-emoji, yet these same types seem to love giving awards. Literally paying for emojis. A mansion. What in the fuck am I going to do with 14 bedrooms? And can you imagine heating and cooling that bitch? No thanks. I would build a 3-bedroom Cape Cod and call it a day. Yeah, I could see something like a 4-bed being ideal. A 6-bed would be huge, but great if you lived someplace where people like to visit, like on a beach. 14 rooms is stupid. Mulan on Disney Plus. Edit. Wow. Thanks for the gold and all the other Reddit gifts. I woke up to over 20,000 comment upvotes. What a great start to the day. Thank you. Especially not considering how Disney literally thanked an organization actively participating in genocide in it. For real. This is actually a film I'll feel good about pirating. Fuck Disney. From the reviews I have read, you're still not going to feel good about it. Maybe grab the animated one as a palate cleanser. Roommate really wanted to watch and paid for it, so we tagged along. Promptly watched the animated one right after. I am actually glad to hear that. That means you two had a fun time comparing the two instead just being bummed at what the new one was like. Wait, I hadn't heard about this. Context. Web address. Disney is such garbage now. Selling out to China and China hating Mulan is such lols. But seriously, ruining Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, and now Mulan is unforgivable. Please use that money to create quality animated movies, please, instead of ruining already perfect ones. I am not opposed to live-action movies. Just don't redo work you've already done. Adapt other fairy tales or fables, or make entirely new stories. Don't make movies we already saw before. Especially don't redo if you're taking out the best song looking at you, Lion King, and the best character looking at you, Mulan. Did they take out the luau scene from the Lion King? They fucked up Scar's song. Oh shit, seriously? Aw well. They fucked up by not recasting Jeremy Irons anyway. They were originally going to cut Be Prepared in Jeremy, but due to backlash pushed in an incredibly half-assed version that's over in a few seconds. The few seconds it had weren't bad, but yeah. They really messed that up. Disney deliberately does this so that the copyrights to these titles get extended and not fall into public domain. Here's a Quora article thread discussing just that. Edit. Yes, I know Quora doesn't have articles per SE to be so technical about it. A mansion. I never got why people would want to live in huge building with 750 rooms. It's just not appealing to me. Big cool house with a big garden? Sure. But a mansion? Nah. Edit. I am pleasantly surprised that Noon attacked me personally for my opinion. Just other opinions with great reasoning down here. Especially the younger folks who point out they would let their friends live there. That of course would be awesome, no doubt. But I am in an age group where none of my friends would want to live with me because they have their own families. But in my position, only me and my girl. I can't imagine spending 6 hours every day to find her phone. Thanks for the nice answers and have a great week. 3. Can you imagine the swift FERS they go through? That's why they've got maids. True. Can you imagine the swift FERS their housekeepers go through? You'd be surprised how quickly you'd upgrade to a mansion. The rich are paying for privacy, convenience, and safety. Why get in a car and drive to a bowling alley only to be mobbed by the masses, some dangerous just to wait to bowl? Especially when you can have a couple of lanes built in your house and invite whomever you want. Next thing you know, bowling lanes, mini cinema, sports facilities, private jet with hangar. All just to keep away from those coming out of the woodwork to get a piece of your action via nefarious means or otherwise and save time, because you're probably already working like mad for your spouse and kids. I think it's easy for us plebeians to say we'd act differently from the rich in their situation, but it's rare in practice. Some is ostentatious for sure. I'd not buy something that went unused by those under my roof. Example. On-premise tennis courts, but I would easily have a full private transportation fleet including private jet runway if legally possible, full gym or physical training or pool facilities minus the tennis court, of course, a full, cozy library like you see in the movies, a mini cinema, security detail. Watch how quickly you get sued when someone, knowing you have deep pockets, sneaks onto your property and intentionally injures themselves, and full commercial dining facilities. Add a humidor, a wine cellar, a lake or dock for boating or fishing, and enough acreage to hunt. If not on vacation and or needing or wanting to travel, I would never leave. Warren Buffett gets away with a moderate home in an average neighborhood because he's an old, crusty finance guy in Omaha, and frankly, these folks aren't as philanthropic as their press teams would have you believe. They use charity laws to their advantage. Why give money to the government when you can use the same funds to set up and head your own tax-free charity, a charity that pays your travel expenses while you fundraise? A majority of billionaires are not recognizable to the general public or on the street, and many reporters don't care much about their goings on either. Aside from Zuck, Gates, Musk, Bezos, do you really think many people are going to recognize or care if Larry Ellison, maybe, John Mars, Jim Simmons, Thomas Peterffy, Ray Dalio or Carl Cook are around them? For a lot of them it's an ego thing. The college admissions scandals was the most obvious example of this. Felicity Huffman and Aunt Becky weren't even the richest ones by a long shot, or paid the most money. It's literally just because they were the most public figures on the list, which makes the story far better than some random CEO of some landscaping company, or a B2B business that no one's ever heard about. Full-price Pringles. Nestle products. Fuck Nestle. This should be higher. Fuck Nestle. YouTube Premium. I watch a lot of YouTube and was considering buying Premium, but I get the feeling that the recent ungodly ad spike is them trying to push Premium, and I don't want to let them think it's working. Edit. Thanks to everyone who suggested Vance, just installed it and it's amazing. Honestly, I have had Premium since it was first offered, and it has been worth it. People will argue about what should be offered free, but that's another argument. No ads, downloading videos easily as a parent and educator, access to tons of music, and being able to share it with a whole bunch of friends and family have made it an easy purchase. Plus, I remember a video where Aaron Hansen mentioned that creators get more revenue from Premium viewers, so the best course of support was from that. Win-win, I guess. YouTube Vanced all the way. New pipe FTW. New pipe is only good for the downloads. Vanced is way better in everything else IMO. If YouTube Music was as good as Spotify, then Premium would be seriously good value. Maybe I am in the minority, but I love watching YouTube without ads. I don't use it for the music at all. Diamond encrusted anything. I don't like glittery things, and it just looks uncomfortable and heavy. A yacht. Being rich doesn't mean my seasickness goes away with a snap of the fingers. Water in bottles. In my country, the tap water is 100% safe to drink. So buying water in bottles would be a waste of money, time, and resources. Change my mind. Probably saw it here on Reddit, but companies that sell water in plastic bottles don't produce water, they produce plastic bottles. Also, fuck you, Nestle, you motherfuckers are stealing from my state. Also, water companies do some super evil shit like setting up their operations near small communities and bleeding their natural wells dry. Also the garbage stories about Nestle giving away free formula to moms in impoverished areas as a marketing tactic to sell water. Ugh. I still stand by this too and won't buy it, but after I moved into a new area with bad tasting water, I understand a tiny bit more. Water his is potable but tastes so bad. Hadn't had that trouble before, and I drink tap at hotels around the US too, so I had drunk out of town before, just never anything as bad tasting as where I live now. And no, it's not my house, it's the whole city as far as I can tell at friends' places and hotels around here. Welcome to Florida. Anything that the Kardashians push. Microtransactions in video games. I oppose them on principle. If anything, I would pay to lobby the government into making them illegal. Microtransactions themselves aren't bad in my opinion, it's how they're implemented. Cosmetics that fund free updates and content good paying to have a significant advantage over people who don't spend money. Bad. I know they can get more complicated than those two examples, but these illustrate my points well enough. EA Games. If you buy the entire company though, you might be able to make it less shit. Please get rich and follow through with this. No pressure, but it has to happen before Skate 4. Candy and snacks at movie theaters. I mean, I would bring my own caviar and crystal. I'd bring a ball pit of popcorn. Oprah voice: you get popcorn, and you get popcorn. You will never see me booking a cruise no matter how much money I have. There are endless other places I would rather spend my vacations. If you were filthy rich, you wouldn't need to go on a cruise, just buy a yacht or take a private jet. LOL. I went on a Hawaiian cruise, and while I highly object to being trapped on a boat for days at a time, this one was perfect. It literally only sailed at night. It was more of a floating hotel. 2 days each on the big 4 islands. Wake up in the morning and the boat is pulling into the next port. Literally spent only late dinners and overnights on the boat. Rest was all on land. ETA. Flew to Honolulu. So the boat literally never left the island chain. Sex. That Epstein killed himself. Wow. You are still with us. Thanks for being such a nice person. As long as you are here, why not like this video and subscribe to our channel? Also, you can press the bell icon, so you won't miss any future uploads.